Back here on Titans Talk, breaking down where this team stands right now after a 40-17 loss to Pittsburgh on Thursday night. Moving forward, I do want to say one thing, and the last caller talked about how big the Delanie Walker dropped pass in the end zone was. And I want to illustrate further what I'm talking about with some of these critical mistakes that they just simply have to clean up. It was a rough start to the game, but sometimes that happens. The Titans showed what they have all year. One thing you absolutely have to credit this team for is their resiliency, that they're not shaken or rattled when something goes against them early on in a game. They fought their way back into it. They got within 16-14 on that first touchdown pass of the second half. So how about that? You get yourself back in the game. You know you have the ball coming out of the locker room, and you dial up a perfect play call to start the second half. You get a 75-yard touchdown, and all of a sudden it's a 16-14 ball game. Momentum is on your side at that point. You're feeling pretty good. Steelers get a bit of a drive. Defense looks to hold them for a very difficult field goal attempt. Heinz Field's one of the most difficult places in the league to kick, and it was going to be a 40-some-yard kick. But there's a flag. On third down, Jarrell Casey hit Ben Roethlisberger below the knee. Now, you can nitpick or complain about the rule in the NFL. That's certainly a discussion for another day. But the bottom line is it got flagged. It gave the Steelers a first down automatically, and they ultimately scored a touchdown there. So they get 7 points instead of 3. The offense comes back with a great response, drives the field, gets down into the red zone. Marcus Mariota with a beautiful pass on a well-designed play on first down, and has Delanie Walker wide open in the end zone for a touchdown. And the Pro Bowl tight end drops it. The Titans end up having to settle for 3 and a field goal instead of 7. So right there, that's an 8-point swing. If the Steelers only get their 3 and the Titans get 7 in that situation, they're leading 21-19 at that point. And for everything that happened early on, the interceptions, the slow start, all of that, you're leading Pittsburgh at Heinz Field midway through the third quarter, and that is a game in the fourth quarter where this team, who has been really good, by the way, in tight games this year, is going to feel like they've got a chance to win that type of a game on the national stage on the road. Instead, those 2 plays go against you, and it's 23-17 Steelers, and they've got the ball back. When they drove down the field and scored then, to me, that's when the game was over. Because then, as much as the Titans had turned the tide of most of the game at that point, those 2 plays, such a big deal, when they scored and it became a 13-point game, it just felt over. And I think it felt over watching the Titans too. They then tried to do too much. They got a little too risky. They turned the ball over more, and it just got away from them. Point being, it's a 40-17 game against the team that's tied for the best record in the AFC right now. It could have been a football game. It could have been a battle in the fourth quarter on the road on a short week. So I don't think the Titans are that far away. But they have to clean that stuff up, because you know what? The Steelers didn't turn the ball over the other night. At points, they didn't look great offensively. The Titans seemed to have them stymied or getting off the field against them. And at points, the Titans offense moved the ball very effectively against the Steelers. But you know what? Pittsburgh didn't kill itself. It didn't have turnovers. It didn't have the costly penalties at terrible times. And that's why they were able to win the game. And that is the next step for the Titans. They're good enough to play with those teams. But when you get in those games, you can't play them and yourself. You can't shoot yourself in the foot. You have to be good enough to eliminate those mistakes to have a real chance. Jonathan Hutton joins us every week on the Electric Power Company Sunday Sports Central. He was in with us last night as we talked about some of the keys from that game and then what's ahead for this Titans team as well. Here he is with John Burton breaking down Pittsburgh and looking ahead a bit.
Joined now by our good buddy and our analyst, Titans radio sideline reporter Jonathan Hutton, also from 104.5 The Zone. Hutton, you and I were there. It was a cold night and a bitter loss for the Titans Thursday in Pittsburgh. What do you think this team learned from this game that really got away from them in the second half?
Yeah, it did. They have been able to overcome big mistakes against teams like Cincinnati, Baltimore, and Cleveland. And they learned they're not close to competing against the Steelers with that same type of effort, especially the game they played in the second half. They were close to making that primetime game one to watch, but Steve just mentioned the second half sequence where the game turned. The Titans have been on the better end of second half performances earlier this season against Jacksonville and Seattle, but in those second halves, the offense played with poise and consistency. They didn't feature either of those things on Thursday night, and one of the better teams in the NFL got the best of them in the final 2 quarters.
Yeah, that Delaney Walker drop really was huge. Marcus Mariota had arguably the worst night of his career, 4 interceptions, and we heard him take ownership of those mistakes, which we like. But are all those struggles strictly on him?
Well, not all of them. Not all of the struggles. Corey Davis didn't help him on a pick thrown to Cody Sensabaugh. Davis was an intended target on another interception later in the game. Delaney Walker, as you mentioned, dropped a huge touchdown pass that was on the money. And the run game averaged just 2.5 yards per carry. But bottom line, Mariota did not play well enough on Thursday night. He admitted as much after the game. He's been very good at moving past bad moments throughout his career. And this is a performance that cannot repeat itself as December approaches.
Now, defensively, Ben Roethlisberger and company exploited the Titans' secondary. Is that, you think, cause for concern moving forward, or just a bump in the road for this secondary unit?
Well, I chalk it up to a very good offense hitting on all cylinders on Thursday, especially during the final 2 quarters. And the defense has been what has kept the Titans in games throughout this month. But on Thursday, the levee broke. Mistakes happened both in attacking Roethlisberger and defending the pass. But chances at creating their own turnovers, I thought, were there, like Woodyard being a step away from having an interception, or Byard pulling in a pass in the end zone. But give credit to Pittsburgh. A lot of what I saw on Thursday night was an offense that's stacked with weapons, beginning to hit their stride, which is bad news for any defense in this league.
Yeah, it's an embarrassment of riches almost for the Steelers offense with all the weapons they have. Titans not only lose the game, they also lose a share of the AFC South lead, as you will see later in the show. Plus, more of this guy as well.
John, Jonathan, thank you very much. We'll get back to those guys in our next segment, but we go back to the phones right now, which, by the way, remain open, 737-7767. And we say hello to Charles. Charles, good evening. You're next up here on Titans Talk.
Yeah, I just want to say, you know, been a big NFL fan for a very long time and a Titans fan, and I'm not too worried about one bad game. Even championship teams have gone out and laid a dud. But my biggest concern overall is Corey Davis. I know he was hurt a lot, but just watching him and the time he has played this year, just something doesn't seem to be clicking with him. Not sure really what it is, but I don't know if anybody has any inside information out there, if he's not getting enough practice reps, or if he's just mentally not there. I expected him to almost as big and talented as he is to be having like a Randy Moss kind of a rookie year. At least that's what I was hoping for. But I mean, I'm just very disappointed, and I'll just hang up and listen. Thanks.
Well, Charles, thanks for the call. I don't think he can have a Randy Moss rookie year because he hasn't been healthy like Randy Moss. Everybody I talk to, whether it's with the Titans or people around the league, are incredibly impressed with Corey Davis in his ability to find the ball, go up and make plays on the ball, his route running for a rookie. I think what you do see is like the other night. I think he looked a little overwhelmed at times, but think about this. This is a guy that really had no training camp at all because he got hurt like in the 3rd day of practice. Didn't play at all in the preseason. Played 1 game before getting hurt again, and then was out 7 weeks, something like that, before he finally came back and was able to help this team out. I think what he's been able to do since coming back, considering missing all that time, is pretty impressive. And it's clear the Titans have confidence in him because he has 18 targets or something like that over the last 2 games. Not many guys out there at any level of their career are good enough to be included in the game plan and get open enough to get 18 targets in a span of 2 games. Now, does he need to fine-tune some things, be a little bit sharper in areas? Absolutely. And the other night we saw him make a couple mistakes that probably led to turnovers. He took the blame, frankly, for 2 of Marcus Mariota's interceptions. That stuff can't happen. But I think that's the type of stuff that only gets cleaned up with more reps and reps in game action. So to me, considering all of the time he's missed, I think the impact Corey Davis has brought to this team is big. And I think the more time he gets and the more he gets his legs under him in the second half of the season, I think as we get into December, I think he can make a big impact for this team because he gives you a bigger target. He gives you a guy who can stretch the field, go up and get balls in the end zone on third down, those types of things. I think he can be a big play, impact player for this team down the stretch of the season. So don't give up on Corey Davis just yet. All right, we got to take a break. We will come back. When we do, we'll get back to John and Jonathan. They'll break down some of that offense, particularly Marcus Mariota's struggles the other night. So stay tuned. We're watching Titans Talk here on News Channel 5+.